So I have a question for everyone here. By raising of hands, so no pressure here, how many of you have a favorite song? Okay, keep them up. Okay. I said keep them up, not put them back down again. Now, if that song, up, if that song has changed in the past 5 years, so if your favorite song for you has changed in the past 5 years, put your hand down. Okay, so there are like 3 people left. Okay, if your song has changed in the past 10 years, put your hand down. In the past 15 years, 20? 25? Okay. Still going? Anybody? Freebird? Okay, was Freebird put out before or after you were born? It was before. Crazy Train before that? Okay. But our favorite songs kind of change, right, throughout the years. You know, maybe you've had 2 in your entire lifetime, but still, our tastes do change throughout time. I remember growing up, my favorite songs are all my songs from Sunday school, which are not the songs I listen to on my radio anymore, right? I got a little bit older, and I started listening to the Oldies channel because my parents listened to that channel. And so growing up, my favorite musicians were people like Billy Joel, Neil Diamond, not Barry Manilow, much to my parents' chagrin, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Three Dog Night. Good bands, right? Now, except for Billy, most of those have not really reached my collection still anymore. I got a little bit older. I started getting into Christian rock, which makes complete sense, right? More than Christian metal does. And so I started listening to those bands, Audio Adrenaline and DC Talk and Pray for Rain and all these other bands. And at the same time, my friends started introducing me to punk rock, which is slightly different than Christian rock. Just a smidgen, okay? A smidgen. I go from songs, I'd be outside playing basketball or in my pool with my CD player, back in the good old days, blasting, back in the days before Bluetooth. And I'd go between, these songs about praising the Lord and being a Jesus freak, to my next CD would be things about trying to take down the man, and really a lot of songs that I'm amazed I wasn't grounded for playing on full blast out in public. But I still listened to both of those for quite a while. Then I got to college, and one of my best friends introduced me to German heavy metal. And not just German heavy metal, but German heavy metal which is based upon J.R.R. Tolkien's writings. So yes, heavy metal based on the Lord of the Rings. A little bit more different. Maybe more kosher than the punk rock I was listening to already. But my tastes were changing once again. And years would go on again to other bands, although during my college years I also found an artist who I really loved, who I still love today, and that is Pink. Which you can usually find in my CD player in my car any given day of the week. In fact, I just changed her out yesterday for Poe, but still. Throughout my entire life, I've had new songs coming into my life because new songs got released. Or I was exposed to new things, right? Some of these songs have been around for years. I had just never heard them before. Our tastes change. The world changes around us and gives us new opportunities, new sounds, new ways to understand the world around us. For instance, I could never quite get through any Tolkien's books. Around the 17th breakfast of the Hobbits, I lost interest. But I could listen to that CD and hear most of what's happened through music. So things change for us. Our artists change. Pink's CDs at the very beginning were more rap-ish. Now they are more pop. I love them both, but they're different. Even in the church, our favorite hymns can change, can they not? I've gone through quite a few throughout my life, may start with Amazing Grace and Seek Ye First. I remember walking around Boy Scout camp, getting lost in the woods, singing Seek Ye First to myself. I was also quite a singer growing up, the fact that I would walk around my school singing songs to myself between each class. This was before the days of Glee, before it was popular. And I got, made fun of quite often. I remember one distinct possibility, or one day, singing in art class, one of the girls would not want to sit next to me because she thought I would start singing in the middle of class. And the teacher had to remind me, this is art class, not voice class. But things change. Nowadays, my favorite hymn is Canticle of the Turning. It's a wonderful song. And when we first came here, there's a song or a hymn that you guys have been singing, I guess, for a while. Amy and I never heard this one before, called Water Life, which we heard the very first time here and went, this song is amazing. And it's now Amy's favorite one. So I got requested for Sophia's baptism. Everything around us keeps on changing, right? And God says to us in today's psalm, sing a new song unto the Lord. Sing a new song. And at times it can feel like we try to make sure that because everything else around us is changing, because the world changes faster and faster every single day, that there are times we want to make sure that the church stays the same, that we stagnate, that we just sit back and long for the days when the church was what it used to be 40, 50, 60 years ago. But the reality is that the world around us changes. Much to my chagrin and my disappointment, if you go to an oldies channel now, guess what music it is? The music I grew up on. It's 80s and 90s. How did that happen? I know I'm going bald and gray, but I don't want to admit that I'm now the oldies channel. I don't want to admit that. To admit that, Baby Hit Me One More Time came out like 20 years ago. Britney's been in the music industry for 20 years. How did that happen? I don't get it. But the world keeps on changing. Even Britney has changed a few times over. And been through one or two marriages, but that's okay too. Got to find the right person eventually. But the world around us will change. Which means that the church, because we are here in the world, also has to change. It is not the 50s anymore. I'm sorry. The days when everyone came to church because of an obligation, we were the only one place to go in town on a Sunday because everything else was closed for the day, and there was no events, no nothing. Those days are over. Instead of a sense of obligation or of no other choices, we're now in a world where there are lots of choices. There are plenty of places people can be right now. I thank God all of you are here with me today. You could be at home resting. You could be at home watching a sermon on TV. You could be off, at the store getting supplies for maybe some big party you're having tonight. I don't know. Could be anywhere. But you chose to be here. But also have to realize, because the world keeps on changing, there's a need to change too. To try new things. To see where God is leading us today and into the future. Singing new songs, you may have been noticing lately that our songs have been changing a bit each Sunday. Sean Michael and I have been discussing this, and what we have come up with, or I don't want to throw him out on the bus too much, I came up with this idea, and then I said, Sean Michael, come along for the ride with me, was for each Sunday, we'd have a traditional hymn, which we all love and adore, right? We'd have a contemporary hymn, so something written since maybe the 90s, still 30 years ago, just about, but still. Something that's newer. Something from the world around us. So things not written by people in Europe many years ago, right? But songs written could be a folk song from here in the United States. Could be a song from Asia, from Africa, South America. It could be anywhere, as long as it had a different kind of sound. Because we realize that we have brothers and sisters throughout this whole world, do we not? Who all have things to give to the faith. And so we want to try new things. We want to make sure that a wide variety of people can come here and at least hear something that might work for them and for each of us. And then we have 4 hymns every Sunday, so the 4th one, that's a wild card. We can do whatever we want, which is sometimes dangerous, or sometimes very safe, depending on what songs we chose for that day. We'll be learning to sing new songs. And it's not always the easiest thing in the world to do, to try something new, because new things are different. We've never done them before. If we had, they wouldn't be new. But as we try new things, we can also begin to grow a bit more too. We can also look at the things that we have done in the past and say, what are the things that are working and what are the things that are not working so well? Like I said, my favorite songs from 20 years ago might not be in my car anymore. It's still part of me. It's a part of my tradition. But things will move along. What does not change, though, what does never change, is the love of God. The message that we bring never truly changes, because that message of love and hope. This message that no matter what has happened in our lives, no matter how many times we have fallen flat on our faces, no matter what has happened or what is to come, God will love and care for us. And that love might be more than we expect it to be at times. For instance, in our reading today from Acts, when they go out and they see all these uncircumcised Gentiles, and they're filled with the Spirit. God is present in their lives. And the leaders are confused. This is not what they expected to happen. This did not meet their criteria, their little checklist that they had on what it meant to be here in a person of faith. But here was God being present and loving them. And so the definition of love had to change a little bit more, because the people around the outside were being brought in. The greatest definition for us as people of faith is love. A love that knows no bounds. A love willing to sacrifice everything for somebody else. That is the love that we offer to this world. That no matter which song we are singing, is the message we give. This message of hope. This message of compassion and mercy and forgiveness. The song might sound a little bit different. Our actions might look a little bit different. But in the end, what truly matters is the love of God is shown in every word and every deed. So may we go out and sing a new song every day, that all may know God's love. Amen.